Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever the fuck you're watching this episode. It's another week. Look at us, Mr. Consistent. Russell Wilson might be Mr. Unlimited, but we're a bunch of Mr. Consistents out here, and I'm fucking here for it, boys.
I almost just spit my beer on my keyboard.
Hey, Broncos country, let's ride.
Ride.
Glad to have you guys back. Backyard Blitz brought to you by Backyard Sports. I got the team with me. Gary, how are you, sir?
I'm good, homie. Good to see everybody another week here. Making some way too early predictions as we do.
Yeah.
And we've got live football next week, man. I'm pretty stoked.
You know, we've already kind of shared our picks, and I mean the level of the disrespect that I've seen in some of these guesses. Like, I feel like I've got solid justification for every one of my picks. And I usually don't. I'll be honest. Well, never mind. Anyways, we'll get into that. All right, so we got a lot to talk about. So we're just listen, in the bag, the mailbag's full. All right, we got plenty of shit to talk about this week. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you're in here, and be sure to share it to your friends. And
Andy, how you doing, man?
Andy, how are you? My bad.
Yo, I'm great, man. What I have to say, my PSA for the night is ESPN, Bleacher Report, CBS, whoever the fuck you guys are, the whole shit about like Tom Brady or Justin Herbert or any star makes the 53-man roster. This shit's not funny. It's not. No, like it's not. It's not.
We were on pins and needles, I swear.
I feel like it's almost hack now.
No, it's been hacked. Like this shit is not funny. Social media's been around way too fucking long for you to keep making the same retired joke. Stop.
Yeah, that's fair. Listen, God bless Texas. Sam Ehlinger making the cut. That's worthy news. He was actually up for a roster. Yeah, exactly. So he had a good performance in the preseason, so it's good to see he's still on a roster.
Bro, I'm glad Marty and fucking Doc Brown bought that hat to you, man. That shit is fucking from back. Look at that thing. That's a vintage hat, baby. I like it.
That's the original Texas Rangers.
Shout out to the wife. We had
old school. You know, whenever it's got the little
they wore that at the Alamo, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, they had a raccoon tail hanging off. See, I said it right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you did.
This was in Davy Crockett's duffel bag. So shout out Tennessee.
King of the wild frontier.
So let's jump into these NFC division first.
Yes,
I want to go to we've got division winners, and we'll jump into our wild card winners. So in the NFC East, we're gonna let's go NFC South. All of us believe that's easy enough.
I like the vintage logo.
Yeah, buddy. I love the old orange creamsicle.
Is there another team there, that we feel like is going to secure the division? I'm not talking about wild cards. Is there another team that legitimately will be a candidate to?
I felt like Raul and I felt really strongly about this when we did the NFC. Obviously, I missed the AFC show last week, but we were Gary did that thing he does where he
look, if you're asking for a team, no, right? All things considered, it's no, but the X factor is always going to be health and whatnot. The Saints have a really, really good defense. I'll say that.
They do.
They're going to be tough. They're going to be a tough out. If Michael Thomas is healthy and if they get good play out of Jameis Winston, that could be a dangerous team. But no, it's the Bucs, man. There's no way I'm going to convince myself or either of you to go against the Bucs, right? Like, there's no chance.
Well, the slippery slope that is Michael Thomas is that one fucking season where he did things that he shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
So, like,
who's his quarterback though?
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Not fucking
Heard he
30
wasn't
picks, Jameis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an anomaly season. I don't think he's a bad receiver, but I don't think he's that good. So
he's a 90 catch guy. He's not 120 catch guy.
Sure. I mean, listen, he could be a 100 catch guy, and I wouldn't even be crazy about it. But
120 with 13
to be like, there was like he's the best receiver in the league type shit. Like, slow it the fuck down. Buddy.
Wasn't he like a 90?
Yeah, you're in a school zone. 15.
All right, so let's jump over to the NFC West. That's another where you're unanimous in. Rams securing the division.
I'm surprised we're fully unanimous here. I just think like we had talk with the Cardinals. Actually, Raul, I think you pushed the Cardinals almost a little more than anybody. And then Gary and I think, had the whole discussion about San Fran could be a 4-win team or a 13-win team,
right.
and nobody would care. Nobody would know the difference. So yeah, no.
The only team I considered here was San Fran, and the news that they extended Garoppolo was big news because it tells me that they don't trust Trey Lance as much as they said they do. They wanted to give him the keys to the castle, and then decided, well, we're going to keep Jimmy at the gate just in case. So it is weird. I don't think that the restructure of the contract helps them deal him at all. So I do believe Jimmy's in San Fran this year. He's going to prove he's healthy. If he gets a chance to start, he's going to be a free agent next year. But that could create a lot of turmoil and a lot of drama. If Trey Lance struggles out the gates, we're going to hear a lot of calls for Jimmy. And if you've got two quarterbacks in this league, you've got none. And
it's bad business.
Times.
It's bad business. I think you either have to live or die with Trey Lance. And if that means you win 3 games, you win 3 games. But I think the big thing is I feel like they thought they could deal Garoppolo, and it didn't happen. So now they were stuck.
And you can't go back, like you said. Once you start Trey Lance, it's 17 games with him.
Yeah.
Ride or die, win or lose. If the Niners are going to win this division, it's because Trey Lance plays steady football throughout the season, and they let that defense and Deebo Samuel win them a lot.
Win with Trey Lance, or you move on from him and Garoppolo. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like as far as the division is concerned, you have to weigh all of that against the Rams performing badly enough to be worse than the Niners or worse than the Cardinals. And it's just not going to happen.
Well, I think the big thing with the Rams is a lot of people, and we talked about it 2 weeks ago, and there's been chatter about it with the Stafford elbow thing. But this is the same elbow thing he had last year. And I don't know how much we didn't really talk about that a ton 2 weeks ago. But
it wasn't news in the preseason, though.
Right.
I think that's why it's gotten more traction this year.
It's the same thing that it was last year.
And everyone's like, oh, he's just not.
He statistically put up his second best season last year. Maybe his best, really. I mean, honestly, let's be real, because it was for real football. He was playing different football in Detroit. But, so I think it's lessened, like the worries. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, the Rams are kind of a juggernaut.
They're managing it. The NFC West is still going to be tough though, with those 3 teams.
Definitely one of the tougher divisions in the NFC. And now let's move on to a split house here. NFC North. I kind of expected this from Gary. Andy.
Well, I think Andy, you and I agreed 2 weeks ago when we talked NFC, right?
Yeah, we did.
It's going to come down to the loss of Devontae, isn't it?
It is that, as well as I'm just waiting for Aaron Rodgers. I think Green Bay's doing the same thing I am, and they're like, let's just see how little fucking weapons we can give him and see what happens. And they just keep doing it, but they've always had this catalyst.
How many draft cycles have they done this for?
When's the last time they didn't have a top-notch wide receiver though? There's always been one. They went from Jordy Nelson to Adams. Before that, they had Jennings and Driver. We've always.
How much of this though do you think that it's especially with seeing what they end up drafting early? How much of this do you really think is Aaron also saying protect me, or stick up the defense, and maybe him offering up that in exchange for maybe a high value receiving target?
Listen, if Green Bay wins the division, I'm not surprised because I don't think Minnesota is terribly strong. But what I do think Minnesota has is they're going to throw the ball a ton. They have an elite running back.
Yep.
The defense is really fucking good. So I just with all of that said, I feel like they overcome the wizardry that is Aaron Rodgers and is making it happen.
I can see that happening. What I don't see happening though is them overcoming Kirk Cousins. And that's going to be the problem.
I'm not taking the bait. Listen, I think the new hire is very, very understated. Mike Zimmer was a toxic head coach in Minnesota. He was not a good head coach. He had some of the worst defenses in crunch time as a defensive genius. He was great in Cincy, sure, but they had some awful defenses when it came down the stretch. And they tried really, really hard to hamstring the offense. They just wanted to run the ball and trust the defense that sucked. So I think the Kevin O'Connell hire is something that can't be overstated because of the chemistry and the familiarity that O'Connell and Cousins have, and the familiarity that Cousins already has in the style of offense that Kevin O'Connell wants to play. And I think that maybe more so than the Devontae loss may have been, it was certainly one of the top couple of factors. And I almost think that that's a bigger factor for me is how improved I think Minnesota is going to be offensively versus how diminished I think Green Bay is going to be, because I do believe that Aaron's going to be able to kind of cobble together and make things work in Green Bay. I just think Minnesota is going to be a lot better on offense. Justin Jefferson is obviously who he is. Dalvin Cook is who he is. Raul, you mentioned it. Thielen's healthy. He was dinged up a lot last year, and they were still in a lot of games. I just think that Minnesota, with that hiring of Kevin O'Connell, is going to make a big difference for that offense, and I think they're going to play a lot better football on the offensive side of the ball, especially.
Well, they have the best duo though too, because I think that Justin Jefferson for me this early on is probably the best wide receiver in the league. And then you have Adam Thielen. Throw him in.
We'll see.
You get Stowe goes in. So real quick, I'm going to end this because I'm not going to talk anymore about this particular conference. But
we got plenty.
This was going to be my opening statement till I knew we rolled into this. So I do my first fantasy draft of the season last night. Gary's in the league, right? Gary has some shit going on. He was a last-second addition. I got him. He helped me out. He jumped in yesterday. So his brother, Brett, you're probably watching. You fucked up, but was supposed to jump in the draft to draft for Gary, but he doesn't.
Got there a little late.
So we watch Gary's auto draft just tear shit up, drafting 4 wide receivers with the first 4 picks. Now he got value. He got
good wide receivers.
Cooper Kupp, Devonta Adams. I don't remember who the 4th was, but so Gary shows up around round 13 to draft fucking Kirk Cousins.
My brother actually drafted him. He actually signed him, but he signed him.
No, you did it.
I didn't. I promise I did. I promise I didn't. My brother did sign him. But I will say this. I will say that Brett literally, I called him after I had class last night. I called him after my class to talk about the draft, and he goes, I drafted Cousins because I know you like him.
You already had a quarterback.
Yeah.
I had Stafford. He drafted Cousins just to troll.
I'm fucking in the league chat going, he shows up in round 13 to draft Kirk.
Yes.
His boy.
You'd be proud, Stowe.
Stowe's actually throwing up right now.
Oh, for sure.
Oh.
Go Brett. That's right.
And Big Freeze is cheering on Brett.
That's right.
You did that.
Yeah. I'm here for it. All right. So now let's move on to this fucking garbage can. Where is the Carson Wentz pick? Got
not
nothing
in fantasy, bro. Not in fantasy.
No,
got nothing.
They'll have a lot of those.
I like that. All right, so I'm sorry. Garbage can division. Andy, I think you and I had kind of leaned heavily towards the Eagles. I was picking the boys in the end. I mean, I don't want to be the biased one here that's just hammering in on the Commanders pick. So I'll let you have the floor on this one. But what the fuck, Gary? That's what I'm just going to start with. And Andy, you have the floor.
So, yeah, no, I mean, I think really, I said it a couple weeks ago when we did the NFC, that the biggest deterrent for me with Philly was the hype around Philly. And I'm probably wrong for that. Philly might be the best team in the division. But I think it's Dallas. I really do. I think they have the best skill players. And I think they get it done. They might lose in the first round, but I don't trust Philly. I'm not in love with Washington. Maybe. I mean, they have fucking guys getting shot up and shit. I don't know what's going on there. You're on the verge of being a fucking starter, and that shit happens.
Man.
And now, it's crazy. And then, then you got the fucking Giants who we probably shouldn't talk about. So, yeah, I'm good. Dallas.
Gary,
we done boys.
Picking the hometown, which is uncharacteristic for you. So, there is kind of a surprise that you were going to pick them. I feel like when we talked about the NFC, you were even kind of, praising Dallas and their situation this year. And so why pick the Commanders this year? Was it the attendance at training camp? Or was it
well played, sir?
Because I think all of you would probably share that same opinion. That's why I'm, I know you couldn't make it because work, but everyone else just couldn't make it because they didn't want to.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So what's your reasoning?
Look,
you're betting against Dallas.
I considered all three, right, of the teams that you just talked about. Of course, Andy's right. We don't talk about the Giants, right? They're like Bruno for all you parents out there that have had to deal with that shit. We don't talk about the Giants because Dable can't stand the quarterback he's got, and they're not going anywhere. But I did consider Philly. I considered Dallas, and I considered Washington. And for a lot of the same reasons that we talked about 2 weeks ago, I had Dallas kind of ahead, right? And I had Washington stacked at 2, and I had Philly stacked at 3 because I think that maybe I've got a false sense of like Carson Wentz wasn't terrible last year. That Colts team was bad in the clutch in a lot of situations. We've talked about that defense underperforming, giving up a bunch of points to the Jaguars with the playoffs on the line. And then I look at like what situation Carson's going into. And I don't love the regime, but what I do love around him, and Andy, you mentioned the skill position, right? I don't think Dallas has the best skill position players in this division. I don't think they have the second best skill position players in this division. Who's Dak going to throw to this year? They've got really CD
Lamb.
Fine. CD, Mr. Drops, that's fine. I'm not scared of him, and nobody else in the league is. Zeke's over the hill, and they won't give the ball to Tony Pollard. Until they give the ball to Tony Pollard, I'm not convinced they're going to have a good run game. But what I will say, the biggest thing that changed for me since 2 weeks ago when we talked about it and I had Dallas ahead, Tyron Smith got hurt. And the last time we saw Tyron Smith miss time, Dallas was a bad football team. He makes a huge difference on that offensive line, in that locker room, in that huddle. And I know they drafted a guy that they think is eventually going to play left tackle, but he is not ready to play left tackle against the best pass rushers in this league. So for me, the news of the Tyron Smith injury changed my mind about Dallas. And I think I'm with you, Andy, on I like some of the moves that Philly made, but in the totality of it, I don't buy Jalen Hurts. And the last time we saw Philly hyped like this was the Vince Young Dream Team year. So I sort of ended up landing on Washington, kind of by default. I trust that they're going to win 9 games. And if they win more than 9 games, they may win this division by a comfortable margin because this is going to be a bad division. So for me, it just came down to like Dallas is going to be without Tyron Smith. Philly, I don't buy the hype. And I do think that Washington's going to play some steady football because Carson Wentz has never in his career had this level of weaponry at his disposal that he's going to have with Washington. One of the 5 best tight ends, one of the probably 10 to 12 best wide receivers in the league. Jahan Dotson's going to be kind of a wonderkin as a rookie, and Curtis Samuel's kind of a Swiss Army knife who's finally healthy. I do think that Washington's going to get just enough out of the offense to win enough games in this bad division to win the division. That's how.
So Aaron had made a comment real quick. There was a comment from Aaron that said that they had a lot of hype last season too. I don't remember that hype necessarily because I thought the division was all Dallas and
I feel
Washington
like they had a lot of
year.
hype in early on in the offseason, which is
sure.
why,
I don't know how many people picked them to
was
win.
Was it because of all the Wentz trade and all that? I mean, they were in the news a lot. I don't.
Right.
I'm with you.
I thought most people picked Dallas or Washington. Like Washington was a big pick last year because the defense was so
good in 2020.
The season before
was.
Yeah. So I'm like, I think Aaron, a different hype maybe. I think we're talking more of the hype what Gary was saying with the dream team. It's like we're the fucking.
I just think that it's interesting that Flint, you're betting on the Cowboys because you feel like they're going to finally get their shit together this year. Gary, you're going.
Oh No, I don't think that at all. I think they're just better.
He thinks he's the best turd in the toilet.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then fair enough. Then I'm in that same boat. But Gary, you're not necessarily going for you're expecting the Commanders to be good. They're just going to be better than everyone else in the division. So
look, 9 games wins this division.
I'm in the same boat for Dallas, and that's what I was getting to, is that I don't believe that Dallas is going to have some like prolific year. I think that it's going to be just enough to squeeze in a first round playoff loss, and we're going to end up losing to a fucking wild card team or something.
There ain't a Super Bowl contender in this.
Yeah, I think they have the best quarterback in the division. They have the third best wide receiver in the division, and they have the best running game in the division. That's the way I see it.
Best running game in the division?
Zeke Pollard? Who's better than Zeke Pollard?
Philly's running game.
No, Miles isn't even. We don't even know what he's gonna fucking do. And then where are you going? Gainwell? Like, I don't. We'll see.
Well,
I have to go
Zeke pretty high in running
on paper.
Paper. Okay, that's fair. On paper, sure.
Let's settle this one on screen here for our NFC wildcard picks, though. So, are any of these coming out of the NFC East?
Nope. I think Andy's the only one that's got an NFC East team in the wildcard.
Oh, he's got the Eagles. Okay, so there's his number 2. So Washington's number 3 for you, then, Andy.
Yeah. I mean,
this isn't a division.
They're going to be better than the Giants. I mean,
fair enough.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I know some kids down the street we could be better than the Giants.
But I mean, okay, so pull that graphic back up, Gary. I mean, I guess your wild card for your wild card is the Eagles, and mine and Gary's is the Panthers.
I would imagine, yeah.
And I feel like even the Saints is probably a stretch. And
I'll start by saying this.
Okay.
The Panthers and the Saints, 2 picks. I tried to set my mind to make the assumption of health. If Christian McCaffrey plays 17 games for the Panthers, they win 9 or 10 games. 9 or 10 games get you a wild card in the NFC. The NFC is not going to be good beyond maybe Tampa, LA, and that's really if Minnesota gets hot and wins 12 or 13, or Green Bay, if Aaron Rodgers is Herculean as he always is, wins 12 or this isn't a deep conference. So like 9 wins probably gets you a wild card in this conference. So like if McCaffrey plays 17 games, they're good enough to win 9, possibly 10 games. And the Saints, assuming health for them as well, Jameis stays healthy, Michael Thomas stays healthy. They got Chris Olave in the draft. That defense is going to be really good.
Alvin Kamara plays.
Kamara, assuming he doesn't get suspended for the whole season, right? I made assumptions. So I'm going to caveat my 2 picks with the fact that I made assumptions that they were going to race.
If you ask me Saints or Panthers, you both pick Panthers. Gary, you pick Saints. I would pick the Saints.
Gary, or you know what, Stove?
I think the Saints are better than the Panthers, all things considered, right? Just across the board. Everybody plays every game this season. The Saints are better than the Panthers. But I think the Panthers win 9, maybe 10 games.
Fair enough.
I saw an interesting thing where somebody was like, hey, what's the fucking over-under? And who's the guy who has the video of Alvin Kamara mashing a dude? And he's just holding it, picking the fucking under. And then he's going to release that bitch. And I'm like, that's tinfoil cap type shit. But, like, that's also genius type level shit, dude. Like, is the guy who made this content, are you that guy?
Yeah,
thanks.
Right.
So now Backyard Blitz is going to end up on a fucking watch list. Thanks for that, Andy. Fucking insider trading and shit. The algorithm is tracking at this point. So Kuckerberg has entered the chat. And Stove, real quick, show some love. I live in Texas. Let him get past. Listen. I've had my heart broken by this team for 20 years. I mean, for 20, I'm not even that fucking old.
30, aren't you?
I'm 32, and it's been a while since we've had a Super Bowl. So
about 26 years, bro.
I approach things like under promising and over delivering, and so I'm going to under promise myself that we're at least going to secure the division. And then if they decide to over deliver, then great. But if I get that clinch in the division, then hey, I was right.
Can we get Stove's management? Can we get Stove's divisional pick?
Yeah,
we'll wait, but we'll get it. I want to get it at some point here. I'd like to have it.
Is there anything left here? Any meat on the bone left with the wild cards?
No, I feel like all the rest of them make sense.
You trust the Cardinals? You trust the Cardinals to finish a season? I mean, they made the playoffs last year with the precipitous fall.
Right. I think
they lost to the Lions.
I think there's going to be some real drama there in Arizona. I think that this is the year that the wheels are going to start to fall off for Cliff and Kyler here. I think that Kyler is very petulant, and I think that he's very offended by the fact that his study habits being an issue for the team got out in the public. And I think that he's going to get the questions before and after every game, and it's going to bug him. And I think it's going to impact that locker room.
I think it
impacts that locker room for a fucking week or two. I think at this point, once he's having to continue,
attaboy, Stove.
You know what I mean? Absolutely, of course.
Can we get a wild card, Stove?
Anybody out of the NFC?
I do think, as far as Arizona's concerned, though, I think this is the make or break moment for Kyler Murray, because now you're exposed, and we all know what you do, what your habits are mid-season. And if you don't want that to be your legacy, now you just cut it the fuck out.
For the
and listen, you either cut it out and you stop doing it, or you show us that we're fucking nuts and you resume what you were already doing and in football first. If not, then that it is what it is, but we'll see.
Look, there's a reason that clause was in the contract.
Sure. I mean, I'm not doubting that. I'm just saying that this is he's a young dude.
Is it unique to anyone else?
This isn't a 30-year-old guy.
Yes. Several sports agents and former GMs have come out and said this is the first of its kind.
And we're gonna see more of this probably.
Right.
It's possible,
but it's time for him.
Nature of the world today.
Listen, not everybody loves sports, man. There are professional athletes all the time. Andrew Bynum was considered probably the second best center in the NBA behind Dwight Howard in the mid-2000s, but he didn't love the game. Yeah. And he faded out because he didn't really care. He didn't, his work ethic wasn't there. So we'll see that with Kyler Murray. If Kyler Murray loves the game, then he's going to fucking fuck it up. And we know he has a talent that if he throws that together with a work ethic, he's going to be an elite quarterback. But if not, he's going to be an extra on the fucking Hobbit series is coming out on fucking Amazon. Bro.
Oh, man.
Tolkien wrote black people into his narrative.
Yo. Yeah, they were the orcs, dude.
Bro,
Don't be an asshole.
Oh, wow. They have to be the orcs, man?
They were, though.
God, we're fucking canceled, dog. I was like, man, y'all are
I'm just telling it how it is, man. I'm thinking
y'all are trying to cancel Tolkien, bro. This fucking show.
Bro, I read The Hobbit in 5th grade, and I knew there was some undertone fucking racism.
Exactly.
You ever seen that Will Smith Netflix movie with the fucking orcs and stuff? That shit is racist as hell. They pulled up on a bunch of orcs wearing fucking bandanas.
We need to transition quick.
Listening to hip hop, bro.
Going into the AFC division winners, let's jump into the unanimous one starting, of course, in the AFC East. All of us, Bills Nation, stand up, Bills Mafia, we're fucking out here. I mean,
did anybody consider giving the nod to any team but Buffalo in this division?
I didn't know.
Didn't even think.
No, I considered that less than I consider referring to them as the Mafia.
Oh my God.
I hate that fucking nickname.
You're fucking exhausting.
It's the worst fucking thing. There's no Mafia in Buffalo, New York.
We're all betting on the Tiger King with the Cincinnati Bengals taking the AFC North. So another division.
Did anybody consider another one here?
I did.
Okay.
Baltimore. I considered Baltimore, and they were the 1 seed last year before Lamar got hurt. So another assumption here is Lamar is healthy for 17 weeks or 17 games. And,
who's he throwing to?
I'm on record. Last week we talked AFC. I'm on record saying the Ravens are getting back to what made Lamar successful during his MVP season and during his first couple seasons in this league. They drafted another tight end. They traded away this wide receiver, Hollywood Brown, that they were trying to force on him. Let him work the middle of the field. It's going to be more read options. It's going to be more throws over the middle. It's where he's comfortable. So I do expect to see Lamar Jackson get back to what he was during his MVP season because of that, because they're going to get the offense back.
So one question I have, and then I'm dead on this, is Lamar Jackson such a unique quarterback in the sense that he runs around so much that the wide receivers matter much less than with any other quarterback?
Yes. And it's because of the way he threatens and commands the middle of the field. Sure. That's what I think makes him different.
So, like, we could go out there and catch passes.
Yeah, we could play wide receiver for the Ravens. John, give me a call.
And don't call me, dude. My fucking shoulder hurts.
And that's so funny because you can't say that about the Packers. As amazing as Aaron Rodgers is, you can't say that about the Packers. You can't.
We're gonna fucking find out this year.
But you can't put, and you've seen the feedback coming from training camp about how if you're going to fucking not catch passes, you ain't playing.
He's big mad about them.
He makes players better, but he doesn't give them the looks. I think Lamar gives them that's why I asked that question. Lamar gives somebody a different.
I feel like a lot of that is just his reactionary style of play where he is trying to work the middle and then he's going to have to scramble out to a slot receiver or something. You know what I mean? It's
going to be like, well, my job was to go block 5 yards and now Lamar's fucking over there and nobody's near me.
I mean, there's a reason why Mark Andrews is successful in that offense.
Right. Yep. They all went. 9 guys went to tackle him, and now I'm just standing.
I'm just standing here by myself,
4 yards away. But I'm going to get 18 yards after.
There's old Marky Mark just on the other side of the first down to catch 1 for 10. Another one.
So my wife and my daughter left, and now my cat is fucking.
Another 2-point reception.
Hey, calm down.
So Marky Mark being another fantasy pick for me always.
He's gonna get back to dominate.
Oh, he'll be the guy.
So this year.
Tried and true.
He'll be the guy.
All right, so let's jump into some of these ones that we're a little bit more divided on.
Let's save the West for last.
Yeah, save the West.
Let's jump into the South. Me and Andy again united, and then Gary going with the Titans, and I'm with it. I don't hate that pick at all. So
I don't hate your guys' pick though, because I was very much 50-50.
I flipped the coin.
Yeah, like seriously, like
shit coin flip. I flipped the coin.
Wow.
I don't even know why.
And it came up Colts. Yeah. I think my pick comes down to I don't trust Matt Ryan the way other people do. I think that's what it boils down to. I think that both teams are going to be 10, 11 win teams. 10 or 11 wins is going to take this division. The other one hopes for a wild card. And for me, I looked at the Titans, and Derrick Henry is still that dude. He's a mutant. That defense is still going to be good. And Andy, I see the look on your face, and I'm
worried about it, man. I love Derrick Henry.
That's a lot of weight.
For big guys, absolutely. Another assumption that Derrick Henry is going to be healthy. These assumptions are going to get me in trouble, and I know it. But I tried to be as kind of impartial with it as I could to make these picks. So that's kind of where I landed is Derrick Henry is just the X factor. And I don't trust Matt Ryan the way clearly, like you two as well. We've had this conversation. You guys trust Matt Ryan more than I do. Most of the pundits trust Matt Ryan more than I do.
I don't even know if I trust Matt Ryan as much as I trust what's around Matt Ryan, because I think maybe one or that's not fair. Probably 2 years Matt Ryan had an offensive line that's this good, because this offensive line is really good.
It's one of the 2 or 3 best in the league.
The Falcons did have a really good offensive line for a couple of years.
Sure.
And I won't even go as far as to be blasphemous and say that the receivers are better than they ever been, because he had Roddy White and Julio Jones. But he's got a running game with the offensive line, with targets. And again, I don't expect a shitload out of Matt Ryan, but I expect enough for them to win a division that I'm unsure about. And I love Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is one of my favorite players in the league. Now that he had that injury last year, I cringe for him. If I'm being fully honest, I feel like it's just going to keep happening.
That's fair.
I don't want it.
Andy, tell me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like you're having the same type of empathy that you had for Stafford, where you're like, that he's worthy of so much more. He's going to jump behind a good offensive line and have himself a year. It's not going to be at the same caliber, but he's going to improve from his prior year.
Yeah, no, and I do, and the question from Gary Sr. goes hand in hand with that. I don't think Matt Ryan is at the same caliber as Stafford at this point. However, yes,
agreed, but the same type of response.
I do think, very similar type of thing. He's getting rejuvenated. He's played with a really bad fucking line and a really bad defense the last.
Yeah, I mean, this
is
a good retirement fucking team for him.
Absolutely,
is just to like actually get a break from the defense and be able to have a second to make a few throws before he hangs them up.
Look what the Colts have done though the last few years. They're like Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. We're staying afloat. While we fucking try to develop Jacob Eason.
Coach Frank out there doing big things.
I'm surprised he wasn't on the cut list today.
Same.
We saw a lot of names. Well, a few names, but
I say that it's not the same now. Fucking Sam Ehlinger's the answer. Okay, we're done there.
Okay.
All right, give that man time. He's built. He's just he needs a good fucking coach, and I think he's got it. So, anyways. All right, so let's move on to another one, the best in the West, and that's the AFC West. And we have a completely split house here. So,
the wild card makes it even more.
I'm not going to talk to you about you yet, Andy. I'm fucking, as soon as I read that, I was like, the absolute audacity.
Broncos country.
Let's ride, dude. I feel like that's how you have to close the show, just for being that much of a cuck. Gary,
whoa.
No, dude, this is unacceptable. You can't expect Russell Wilson to now. Okay. Not in that division, dude.
Okay,
not in that
division. Let's
division.
go. Roll into it then.
Not into that division.
I'm going to show you how fucking wrong you are. Let's go.
I just feel like you're placing a lot of trust.
I absolutely
in Russell Wilson.
am. I feel like you're placing a lot of trust in the guy that wears fucking eyeliner. Let's roll.
Listen, it's 2022, dog. Like, this man's living his truth either way. And reunited, and it feels so good. Like,
He's been wearing his truth for fucking 300 years because nobody got him in the fucking heart with a fucking.
Listen, he's free of John Gruden. He's got a chance to reunite with an old college teammate who happens to be one of the best receivers we've ever seen.
He made a mistake.
So, Gary, let's go. I mean, listen, betting on the Chargers is not a bad idea. I think Andy and I can both agree there.
Look, this entire division, you can build a case.
Hold on. Sorry, real quick, Gary.
Yeah.
How the fuck did none of us pick the Chiefs?
I was actually going to ask that. Like,
no,
is it weird that we didn't pick the Chiefs? They've won the division the last 47 years.
So I mean, back to Gary's thought, but none of us picked the Chiefs, which is, I mean, 3 shots at 4 teams. And
I feel like the Chiefs, for me, were a toss-up between second and third in the division.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's just weird that none of us landed there.
Yeah, I mean, I just, the Chargers are on the fucking uptick, dude, and that's a stock you want to buy in on.
Yeah, all right. So, all 4 teams in this division, you can build like a Super Bowl case for them, right? Because the Broncos were a good team last year. They were sort of a fringe, borderline playoff hopeful with really bad quarterback play and really unsteady at the quarterback position. Bridgewater missed time, Locke missed time with COVID, and they were just, at one point they had fucking a 5th string wide receiver playing quarterback for them because of COVID protocols and injuries. So the Broncos adding Russell Wilson, you have to think, yeah, that's great for them because Russ is who Russ is. Raul, I know your thoughts on him, but then you look at the Chiefs, they're the Chiefs, right? But to me, I slotted them down because Tyreek Hill's gone. And I think that they're going to realize pretty quickly the difference maker that Tyreek Hill was on that team, combined with Andy Reid's mind and Patrick Mahomes' arm talent. I was
but they got their defense back, though, in Juju.
Okay, we're moving on. I was tossed up in this division between the Raiders and the Chargers because I like what the Raiders did last year, and I love the addition of Devontae Adams. I love the chemistry. I love the excitement around that. But I worry a little bit in the Raiders offense that Derek Carr is going to get away from what's made him so great, and that's distributing to guys across the board with Waller and the running backs that can catch out of the backfield and Hunter Renfrow at the slot position. Is he going to force the ball a little too much to Devontae Adams? Now, that's not a bad option to force the ball to him. But I look at what the Chargers have, and the Chargers have a quarterback that's like a supernova. They've got really good skill position players at wide receiver. They've got Austin Eckler, who's an absolute freak show at the running back position when healthy. Again, another assumption. They've got good talent, big size at the tight end position. And they made a lot of additions to a defense that was already supremely talented last year. My trepidation picking the Chargers is the same worry that I have with the Eagles. Is this whole buying in, bringing in a bunch of guys, selling the farm really to try to get big time production in this year? Is this something that could trip up the Chargers and they kind of fall victim to the same thing, the hype machine? I don't think it's going to happen because I think Justin Herbert is a bit of kind of hype proof. He's so just even keel. You can't get the guy worked up. He's so quiet. He's a cerebral leader in that huddle, in that locker room. And I think guys like Khalil Mack are going to be super hungry. Bosa's a monster. Imagine trying to block those two on opposite ends. And then Derwin James, of course, got paid this offseason, and he's next to Ramsey's probably the best Swiss Army knife in football. So I went Chargers because of all of that talent. But honestly, any one of these teams wins this division, and maybe any one of these teams wins the AFC, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's the hardest division.
Yeah, by far.
I mean, I don't know where you guys went last week, but I know we were leading up to it 2 weeks ago, and it was the toughest for me. I just ultimately with Denver, I think
you're betting the farm on them,
dude.
On Russ.
Listen, not on Russ though. It's not just on Russ. It's on the fact that they now have a NFL quarterback. They didn't have an NFL quarterback before. They had a couple of plug-in bullshit guys, and
right.
I hate to call.
The reason why I say you're betting on Russ here is that you're assuming that he's the only thing that's preventing them from taking the toughest division in the NFL. Period.
Absolutely, I think the quarterback position was what was holding them back. They have the best defense in that division. Not even a competition, probably in the NFL. They have the best 1-2 punch at running back in that division. They have.
If you don't know the name Javonte Williams now, you will by the end of the season.
You ever heard of Melvin Gordon? Because the Chargers have.
He's a guy that's taken a back seat to Javonte Williams this year.
Now you have the wide receiver is their weakest position, but it doesn't suck. Like they have guys who probably went under the radar because they were getting balls thrown to them by fucking Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. Like now you bring it. This isn't like, we're not talking Russell Wilson in the fashion that we're saying like somebody like fucking Geno Smith or Kirk. I don't want to say it, Gary. Sorry. Like this is Russell Wilson. This is still Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's still a pretty good player, right? I mean,
yeah.
Is Russell Wilson still a top 10 quarterback?
Yeah.
So now we bring Russell Wilson into the fold with one of the league's best defenses, a very capable receiving corps, a good offensive line, and a very good running game. And they play in a fucking place where you can make 60-yard field goals. And yes, they play in a very tough division, but yeah, that's my pick.
How much stock do you put into the Tim Patrick injury in Denver?
Absolutely.
That's one of the guys that he was going to be able to utilize. Good slot receiver.
That's huge. But like you still have Courtland Sutton, you have Jerry Jeudy, you still have KJ Hamler. Like they still have guys. That team they're not like attic or basement, but they're fucking packed into the first floor.
So you truly believe that, as Raul's been kind of hinting toward, you truly believe that they last year even were a quarterback away?
Yeah. How many games did they win last year?
8, I think they went 8 and 9.
7 games last year.
7 and 10. Okay.
7 games.
They were right around there.
Yeah. 7 games last year. But listen, that defense was putting clamps all over people.
Yeah.
Like Kawhi Leonard. They hate me.
Hey.
Hi, Ava. She turns her head. She don't like it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, to me, if you're a quarterback, obviously you love your offensive line, you love your wide receivers, you love your running game.
Now,
but
what about
I've always
what
felt
about
like
the difference in coaching here? Because we're talking about Russell Wilson, who's had Pete Carroll, who Hall of Fame
Crypt
coach,
keeper.
yeah, for
He's
sure.
got Aaron Rodgers as offensive coordinator, if that counts for anything.
Does it? I
Probably
think Aaron Rodgers is his own offensive coordinator.
I just felt like Denver last year. Denver looked so good last year. They just couldn't get past their offense. Like they couldn't succeed because of the offense, and it clearly wasn't their running game.
Yeah,
because they have two top 25 running backs.
Yeah.
So like it's if you got a top 15 guy and a top 25 guy, and you've got a capable line and a fucking stellar defense, and you have guys who can catch the ball.
All right.
Where's your quarterback play?
So, all right, so let's assume here. Let's take a look at our next shot here, and this is the AFC wild card picture, and let's see if anyone else picked the Broncos. Me and Gary. Nope, not there. One thing we all agreed on, though.
Fucked up.
I don't think we did. The Chiefs is something we all agreed on. Gary, you had the Chargers, so Andy and I also picked the Chargers to jump in that, and all of that makes sense. The Chiefs was the one that I was legitimately kind of on the fence about. That was the one I waffled about, was who was going to be in there. And ultimately, I believe in the Chiefs over the Broncos, which is why I gave them the slot.
Yeah.
We talked about the Titans already. The Dolphins, Andy.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
I like
the Dolphins? I listen.
I don't hate it.
I mean, as far as the Chiefs go, I believe in the Chiefs over the Chargers and the Raiders. I believe in the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are another one of those teams that they have a really steady defense. We didn't see it last year, just like a couple of these other teams like Washington, the Colts. We didn't see it. But it's still there. That core is still there. And I think now that Tua has two pretty good fucking weapons, he's got Waddle and now he's got Tyreek. They've got 19 running backs who are capable. There's 19 of them. Go count them. Go look at the depth chart. It's hard for me to think that this team's going to fail because I don't think the Jets are trash. Okay, so that's 2 easy wins. They probably lose
Cougars though.
All day, dude. Stifler's mom. They probably lose 2 games to the Bills. Maybe they split in Miami. Who knows? New England. I don't have a ton of faith in New England. If you look at Miami's schedule, I think it favors them, and I think that they're a good enough team to overcome.
You think they're going to overcome the Raiders for a wild card spot?
Listen,
they weren't on your list.
Because for me, the Raiders are the worst team in that division, which isn't saying they're terrible. It's a tough division. I think that division kicks the Raiders' ass.
I think any team in that division goes into any other division with the exception of the Bills. But
that's not how that works, though.
Right.
So I'm not saying this is the scenario, but say the Raiders lose 6 games in their division because their division's so good. I'm not saying they're going to, but it's a real possibility.
They got to win 10 or 11 out of their division.
Right. If I think the Broncos are good enough to be what I think the Broncos are, and I think the Chargers are good, and I think the Chiefs are real good, I'm not at all picking the Raiders to lose 6 divisional games, but they could. And that's not even counting the rest of their schedule. I just think that's a hard. I don't think 4 teams from that division make the playoffs, and I picked 3, so I can't. I'm not picking the 4th.
I almost did.
And Carr wears eyeliner, dude. Fuck that guy.
I almost did pick all 4.
I'm sure there's lots of people who have.
That's close. I had the Patriots, I had the Dolphins, the Broncos, and I even considered the Texans because I like where they're going and I like Lovie Smith. I don't think they're going to win enough games this year, but I like where they're going.
Hey, dude, did you say you consider the
Davis Mills can play. I considered them for a wild card spot. Maybe I'm an idiot, but yeah. I almost picked the Broncos, but in the end, I looked at what the Ravens were last year before Lamar went down, and I just think that they're going to sneak in a wild card spot in a sneaky tough division because I think the Browns are going to be okay even without Deshaun, and I think the Steelers are going to get really good play out of their rookie quarterback at some point this season, and they're going to knock some teams off that shouldn't.
I think all in all, the AFC is just going to be a fucking problem.
The AFC is a nightmare to try to pick.
Remember the scene in fucking Anchorman where all the news crews show up?
Yeah, that's the AFC, man.
That's what Liz did.
Yeah, dude.
It's like, Brick, is that a grenade?
Dude, Tua threw a trident.
I saw Brick stand down with a trident.
Oh man,
I love Lamp.
Oh, like
you actually love the Lamp?
When your scene is so good that Ben Stiller, as a top-notch comedic actor, isn't in the movie, but you can get him in one scene.
Yeah,
he's in fucking You've
won.
Yeah.
He's in fucking brown face.
I mean, what do you mean, you people?
I mean, you know,
bro, it was 2004. It was wild back then.
Yeah, Robert Downey's the only one who can get away with fucking. Oh my god!
Not only can he get away with a brown face, but he can also say you can't go full R word.
Yeah.
You never go full.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Such a fucking performance. So
one of the greatest.
And that was like 2 or 3 years later.
Yeah.
Than Anchorman. I mean, Anchorman was like
there's no way that movie survives 2022.
Oh,
that shit gets canceled immediately.
Dude, it's all canceled. So have you guys ever heard of I don't know how much you guys play like a video game. So the video game that's been out for like years and years now, Saints Row, which is kind of like the counterpart to Grand Theft Auto.
Yep.
So they've always had it's like a wacky out of bounds game. And one of the car shop in the game is called Rim Jobs. Haha, get it? Rim Jobs. Always been called that. But now in the woke culture, the new game that just came out like a couple weeks ago, now they call it instead of Rim Jobs, it's Jim Robs.
Oh,
Jim Robs.
Jesus. That's funny.
This game, 8 years ago, you could swing around a purple dildo as a weapon that was like 4 feet long. Yeah. Fucking thanks, Obama.
They throw in the end zone.
All right.
We're talking conference winners.
Yeah, please, God. NFC
Purple
conference
dildos
championship.
and conference champs.
Fucking purple dildos.
I think Raul and Andy are probably still. I hate the fact that I just referred to myself in third person. I think that me and Andy are still on the Matt Stafford train, and Gary justifiably is never going to bet against touchdown Tommy.
You bet against.
But I feel like for me it was a dude. This is rough.
It's not even the chin. I don't know what's going on.
There
was that Dancing with the Stars.
Mass Singer.
Oh, Mass Singer. Yeah.
Mass Singer conspiracy theory. And now it's like, oh, no, he just had plastic surgery.
Yeah.
So
11 days, though? That ain't recovery.
I can't even tell what looks weird about him. I know something looks weird about him, but I couldn't quite place it when I was looking at like forehead to bridge to like under. Like I couldn't figure out where I was wrong, but something was wrong. Something was fucked up. I don't.
Dude, I mean, Brady is very quickly becoming a fucking Kardashian with this shit. It's just getting old. I don't care, you know? And so with that, Stafford, the fucking Rams running it back. Yeah. I think that's what it is. Gary, touchdown Tommy. Was that it? His return was it for you?
Yeah, I think it's he's motivated to not go out the way they went out last year. I think if Chris Godwin is healthy last year, that's a different team in the playoffs. he's kind of the dude that makes that engine go, and he's going to be back this year. They added Julio. They've got another fucking 6'4" monster in the red zone to add to Mike Evans and
that
Cameron
receiving
Brate.
core is disgusting.
It's unbelievable, dude. It's an NBA roster playing fucking wide receiver for it.
It is, but how many hits to the head can they take with helmets? Because that's all that fucking matters.
You're absolutely
like, if you can't Game of Thrones style, if you can't fully compress an adult fucking helmet to your head, if you can't take that, go sit.
Yeah, for sure. I think that they're on a mission. Tom's on a mission, and they're still a really good defense with a lot of talent on offense. And Leonard Fournette has lost a bunch of weight in camp, and he's in shape.
Look at him and James Harden just out there getting it.
James Harden was wearing the fat suit. My thing for the Rams, the biggest thing will be the fact that they're still going to command on defense with two of the best defenders in the league with Donald and Ramsey. And then now you've added the most grossly underrated wide receiver of the last 10 years in Allen Robinson, who's never had a fucking quarterback. He's never had a quarterback. This dude has had a bunch of
fucking Blake Bottles,
dude, like a bunch of dickheads, and he's supremely talented. He has to stay healthy.
He is his fucking offensive coordinator.
Stay healthy. That's what you have to do. But you played for the Jags and the Bears, and you were just misused. And now listen. Two things ring true, and that is Megatron and Cooper Kupp have had the two record-setting seasons. It's both been from Matt Stafford. Now you're bringing in Allen Robinson, who is really like the opposite drive to Cooper Kupp because he's a big fucking dude who's long, goes up and gets the athletic catches, while Cooper Kupp is more of a possession guy who can also go get the ball too. That's scary as shit. And they still got Van Jefferson, who's a very capable guy. I mean, it's a very scary offense with a very scary defense. They have to be able to run the ball, though. They have two hurt running backs. Cam Akers, they say slow, still at camp. You've got what's the dickhead behind him? Henderson, who's I don't know if that guy's ever up a lot. I don't know if he'll ever be healthy, but they have to figure that out because you have to be able to run the ball. And Cam Akers made some whoopsies in the playoffs. It almost cost them. So
almost
some fucking costly whoops.
The Rams almost found out what the Falcons fucking.
I'm almost like an Allen Robinson cuck at this point. Like I've been waiting for that guy to
go somewhere useful.
Fuck this shit. Let me play with a quarterback. He's never had a quarterback.
Well, he got one now.
Well, he has one. Let's see it. And he's got a guy lining up on the opposite side. So
all right, so then let's go into this other pick, and I feel like this may have been a tougher one, but the AFC division and Andy just all the way to the top, dude.
My guy, baby. Let's go.
I mean,
self-explanatory.
It's so not like
it is.
Dude.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, best defense in the NFL. Great 1-2 punch at running back. Capable wide receivers. Elite quarterback. That's all it is, man.
Gary?
Again, the AFC West, like you could build a case for those teams, so I get it, right? He's on the Denver wagon.
I'm with battle Buffalo all season.
Yeah. I'm with Buffalo, though. I just think that they've got the defense already. They were the number one defense last year. Let's ride, Aaron says.
Let's ride.
The Bills had the number one defense last year. They, if there's unlimited overtime like there is in college, we're probably still playing Bills versus Chiefs now, right? Like a fucking almost 6 months later, we're playing 7 months later, we're playing that game still. So that team, and I look at what the rest of the AFC did. The Chiefs got a little worse with Tyreek Hill leaving, and I think the Bills, Josh Allen has full command of that offense. They just keep adding things to build around him. And of course, he's a freak. So I'm all in. on the Bills this year in the AFC?
Stove with a great question. Rashad Penny or A.J. Dillon?
A.J. Dillon.
I'm going
Rashad
Dillon.
Penny.
A.J. Dillon.
Rashad Penny's going to start.
Rashad Penny's also fucking going to average less yards per game than
A.J. Dillon's not going to start.
Yeah, Rashad Penny sucks, though.
Yeah, but so does A.J. Dillon. He's fat. No, I don't know, man. Listen, in all truth spent, that's a weird question. Like, for me, I really would lean towards Penny because he's going to start. And I don't know if I trust their quarterback play. With A.J. Dillon, you've got Aaron Jones. Where does Dillon fit in?
I heard somebody say,
but I heard somebody saying like he was gonna fucking excel like catching the ball. I'm like, this dude runs a fucking 8.6 40. You're laughing.
Are you talking about A.J. Dillon or Eddie Lacy?
Same dude.
You're right. No. That's so disrespectful.
Brother.
Cheeseburger A.J.
Man, dude, fucking Raymond Felton. Like, oh, fucking Christ.
That fucking AJ stands for Anjou with all the roast beef sandwiches, dude.
Holy shit, man! Like,
I just learned what that
listen,
is.
Listen. I think AJ Dillon is to me, Aaron Jones is so good that he keeps him off the field. I keep seeing these dynamic ways that they're going to get Dillon on the field, like from analysts. And
well, I mean, let's look. He's not a Pollard. You know what I mean?
It is. It's a different scenario. Are you lining up Dillon as a receiver? Because if you do, I got jokes. Like I'll put a D end on him.
Speaking of jokes, Stove. He said, "Guys, Russ, Staff, Trey, or Carr." I mean, for me, it's Carr.
What? Did you say it was Carr? Stafford.
I agree with Andy, but I think it's nip and tuck between Russ, Staff, and Carr. I think Carr's people don't realize kind of what he puts up fantasy wise for Derek Carr, but
I don't know, man.
Trey Lance is going to get some.
Well, we don't know what Trey Lance is going to do, though.
I think he's going to get toads, but I don't know what he's going to do in terms of
Trey.
fantasy.
That's a good question, Stowe. Trey,
they're going to run the ball.
Trey might be nuts in
fantasy. I don't. San Francisco.
Listen, if Trey Lance does what Trey Lance wants to do, it could listen. Here's the thing: is I know Gary, for instance, you hate Jalen Hurts as an NFL quarterback. As a fantasy quarterback, he's really fucking good, though.
Yeah, he gets rushing yards and rushing touchdowns.
So, can Trey Lance is the same thing?
I think he's going to get some rushing difference, but I just don't know that they're going to.
Who's his NFL comparison?
Trey Lance's?
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick.
No. Who's his current NFL comparison?
That's a good question.
Do you see any Jalen Hurts in there?
I think similar running styles, yeah.
Similar,
but he's
similar.
Bigger. I think he's a little more nimble, but similar. Yeah, I could see that.
So that's my whole thing. Like, is Trey Lance gonna? Maybe they don't even win a lot of games.
I was thinking. The only other person that I could think of would have been, and of course it leaves me now. Tua.
Well, I don't. I think
he doesn't run as much.
I think Tua's going to be okay though, because like I just constantly see where everybody's like Tua can't throw the ball to Hill. Hill's going to make Tua throw the ball to him because Listen, Tyreek Hill's not limited to running straight up a field, so he can be running a straight route and burning his receiver.
And underthrown, he comes back. We just saw that the other day in the highlight.
Yeah.
But what I also
it looked like a beautiful throw.
Right. What I also need people to remember too is what Miami's offense was last year too, and where Tyreek Hill excels. get him the ball in open space, because Jalen Waddle caught 96 balls. He set the rookie record for catches, and a lot of those were lateral to the line of scrimmage and let him do work. Tyreek Hill is different. Jalen Waddle is a guy who's got elite speed, elite, quickness in small spaces. He's not Tyreek Hill. Nobody's Tyreek Hill. Get him the ball in similar situations, he's going to be dangerous.
No, they're gonna beat teams up in the short passes because
everything behind
two guys
yards from the line of scrimmage. Absolutely.
Yep. If you give Waddle the little pass, let him bully through. You give Hill the little pass, let him miss tackles. See you later. And they can run the ball a little bit, and they got capable tight end work, and hopefully. Much like I talked about with the Colts, hopefully they'll recover defensively this year. Sure. And the Commanders is the same way.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see, a little bit of a resurgence from that side of the ball. So,
all right. So quickly, let's jump into our AFC picks.
Super Bowl.
Apologies. Super Bowl champs. Broncos.
All in
Bills.
on the Broncos. All in.
I just.
Yeah, I got the Broncos.
I think we all went AFC, right? So
we all knew that. I was going to say we all knew that the AFC was going to take the division. Yeah,
AFC's the better conference for sure. Same reason that I have the Bills winning the AFC, I have them winning the Super Bowl. And isn't it going to be, if this plays out, my picks plays out, if the Bills beat Tom Brady for their first ever Super Bowl, the city of Buffalo is going to run out of folding tables.
Yeah, I'm moving.
Dude. Oh, dude.
Wouldn't that be so great, though, storyline? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, it'd be cool.
I feel like Buffalo would be another place that you'd have to go and just fucking grease light poles, because it's going to be absolute chaos.
The city of Buffalo doesn't burn shit like Philly, though.
Yeah, they might, dude. They haven't had a chance.
No, I'm just talking about and it's going to be drunken.
No, I'm with you, Raul.
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be burning.
They're either going to burn shit to the ground or just throw wings.
They might. Listen. They had four close calls. Okay, in the early '90s, and most of those kids who like the Bills because of that are now adults.
Yeah,
who they're accountants and shit. And construction workers, and they're gonna set that bitch on fire.
Yeah,
they are.
They are.
Whole shit's gonna burn, and I don't even blame them. Listen, it's only a problem if it becomes a habit. Philly.
I just feel, Stove, you've got the right point. I think that the folding table is more of an entry level thing here,
bro. They won't.
You win the Super Bowl, you got to upgrade.
Yeah. They won't even sell them tables around football season.
Oh, for sure.
No, they don't. They're like, fuck you guys. You can buy a limit of one.
Oh, for sure. One per customer.
That's fucking soft.
Well, No, I don't know. Maybe they don't do that. I just made that up. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the trophy's hoisting mile high anyways.
Yeah, and that's because California has legalized weed, so LA Rams are gonna make a go at it.
Could happen, man.
Yeah, I mean, if there's
hasn't everyone legalized weed by now?
Unfortunately, not.
No, because you live in fucking Texas, bud. So
yeah, but
Jesus,
it's like getting a parking ticket at this.
It's point. Like the Stone Age. So, well, listen, New York's in a weird phase though too. We're in a phase where you can possess, you can smoke, but you can't buy or sell. So what a lot of places,
and you can only possess so much, right?
Yeah, sure. Right. And that's with anywhere, but a lot of places do. Like you can go to a shop, and they will sell you a sticker for like $25 or $50, and then they'll gift you weed because they can gift you whatever they want.
It's very nice of them,
but you can't sell it.
So you just bought a fucking smiley face sticker.
Hey, all I'm saying, Andy, is links or it didn't happen. Let's jump into the let's roll into the most important part of our show, and that's our salute to service. This week's episode is going to be dedicated to Army Chief Warrant Officer 3 Taylor Galvin, who passed away August 20th, 2018, serving during Operation Inherent Resolve. He was 34 years old from Spokane, Washington. Passed away as a result of injuries sustained when his helicopter crashed in Sinjar, Iraq. He was assigned to Delta Company 1st Battalion, 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment based in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Army Chief Warrant Officer 3 Taylor Galvin. We have the watch. Just in time to refill. I see Andy's got the cooler. Well done, sir. I'm out on the porch, and my mother-in-law gifted me a small fridge for my porch.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So it's sitting right here next to me.
I'm dealing with this damn cooler that I got to fill with ice, and you got a fucking fridge over there. Well done.
Hey, man, we're out here doing it on the porch. Got the party lights on. Got the lake in the background. Can't really tell now that it's dark. Love it, though. So I want to jump into our capper facts. So let's go ahead and jump right into that bad boy. You know, Stove, to just go ahead and address that real quick. These are whatever fucking lights I want them to be. So that's the best part. They were probably up there for Christmas, though, one year, and then they just never really came down.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it, though. That's every dad's dream.
Yeah. They go up and they never come down.
Yeah, dude, I'm on lake time, you know? It's December somewhere. Or I think that's how that goes. All right, jumping into the first capper facts. Jimmy G will start for the San Francisco 49ers this season. I'm going to go ahead and run in here and say facts. And I think that's because they're not, I mean, just like you guys were talking about earlier, I don't think that they have full confidence in Trey Lance. And so I think that they're just going to have to stick with the devil they know rather than the devil that they are not confident in. So, Andy?
I go facts, too, just because I think they're fucking dumb enough to do it.
Fair enough.
It's a bad move.
Hold on. My bad, Stove. I got you, my guy. These shits are Bluetooth.
Oh, we're getting after the lights here. Changing colors.
Yeah, they do flash and change colors. But anyways,
beautiful.
All right, Gary, capper facts.
That's a party train. Leave it up all year, buddy.
I should have kept mine up all year.
Is that a hydroponic tree or just what? I'm not really sure.
I'm facts with you guys. I think that if Trey Lance struggles, I think we're going to see the 49ers show their true colors in the fact that they want to win now, and they're not too foolish to say we're going to stick with the rookie because this is the decision we made. That locker room loves Jimmy Garoppolo, and they may like Trey Lance as well, but that locker room loves Jimmy G. He's had him in a Super Bowl. He's had him in another conference championship game. I just think that they're possibly gonna be like 2-3 after 5 games and scuffling a little bit on offense. And Kyle Shanahan is arrogant enough to say, I'm gonna bench my rookie. I'm gonna put in Jimmy G, and then next year Trey Lance is going to be that dude. So, facts.
All right. There you have it. That's across the board there. On to the next one. Capper facts. Tom Brady outside of New England, cussing during press conferences and tossing Lombardi from boat to boat, is way more fun. And I guess I'll say facts because the answer to the question is he more fun? But do I enjoy this version of Tom Brady more? No, I don't. I appreciated the stereotypical Pats. Just we're gonna come out here and fucking win 8,000 Super Bowls consecutively. Yeah, we're on to Cincinnati. Oh, fucking Billy Belly. Andy, capper facts.
I like it, man. I'm a fan of it. I don't, you looked at Tom Brady before and you were kind of just like robot.
I guess you have to compare this to the Tom Brady that also would like kiss his son on the mouth while he was getting massaged. So I guess that's fair. This is
the whole New England thing with Belichick was kind of like just like by the book in many ways, and in a lot of the things that weren't by the book were things people hated. The fucking making out with your son, the tuck rule, shit like that. This Tom Brady's just kind of all over.
You went to that well twice.
This Tom Brady's just he's out of I don't know what's going on with him, man. He's
that mentor protege relationship.
He's like, I'm 45, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm fucking, I retired, I didn't. It's kind of cool to see the midlife crisis take place. Like,
it really is. That's what
this
is
American Beauty, dude. Kevin Spacey. This is that fucking movie, and we're seeing it now.
Well, let's just hope that he doesn't get canceled like Spacey did. Gary, what are your thoughts? Is this cap or facts? I'm working on my transitions, boys.
Yeah,
how did I do?
That was a good one.
Gary needs water.
I will say this: I like this version of Tom Brady more.
Loved House of Cards, though. I'll never give that up.
And I'm going to give you an example of why. And we talked about it last year. Joe Burrow in interviews is the guy that we want. He's honest. He's brash. He's not afraid to speak what's on his mind. He's cocky to the point of being, just the guy for Cincinnati. And I think that we're seeing a little bit of that from Tom Brady, and I like it. I like when athletes are transparent. I like when athletes are honest in press conferences. I wish they were all given truth serum before a press conference, because it's way more entertaining when Tom Brady says, listen, you're going to ask me all these questions. I'm 45. I got shit going on in my life. He fucking does, right? So I love it. I love it. I love when he's drunk out of his fucking mind, throwing the Lombardi and possibly dunking it in the bottom of the bay in Tampa. I love it. I love it.
Yo, my guy's probably eating Paxils and shit. Like that shit don't mix with booze.
Hey, look, I'm just saying, I'm looking forward to Brady on Rogan, because we're talking about Rodgers on ayahuasca. Christ. Brady's off that shit, dude. That shit, that he's off of that Illuminati shit.
Getting Josh Gordon fine.
Bro, I'm telling you, Tom Brady's off that Illuminati pack. And that's facts. I'll fax to that. On to the next one. What do we got here? Cap facts. Dan Snyder's absolute worst owner in football. Facts?
Yeah. Yeah, facts, dude. Andy's ugly.
Yeah, I don't know that there's much debate in this, but I just want to float this out there for other fan bases that think they've got awful ownership. Imagine having an owner for 20 plus years who gouges prices of tickets, puts private seating licenses in place for season ticket holders, can't fix the plumbing so fans get literal shit dumped on them during a game, waters down beer, and has the most expensive beer in the league.
Yo, how is your beer that much, Dan Snyder?
Dude,
that's bullshit.
That's criminal.
That's insane.
So,
the Lions suck and their ownership is bad, but their beers are like $5.
They know their lane.
Yeah, stay in it.
Yeah.
This ain't fucking England, dude.
Hey, look, the MCDC offense, man. It'll come around. Stove says second is Texans' own ownership, and fuck, dude.
Yeah, theirs are fucking shithole.
Absolute shithole. All right, on to the next one.
That's it.
All right, excellent.
Hey.
Well,
getting our bag.
We got to get in our bag then. Let's do the damn thing. We're in our bag. And for those of you guys that don't know what the fuck that is, feel free to enter a comment whenever we put our. You could even pretty much enter a comment whenever you want.
Anytime you want, buddy.
Anytime you want. DM us. We'll put out posts every single week telling you this is the post to enter in your stuff to the mailbag. Do us a favor. Send us a DM whenever you want with your mailbag question. We'll read it out live on air. Let's go to the first one. So, Stove asked, with the recent Joe Rogan interview, does the NFL look to fine and or suspend Ron for his comments about the Shield and their handling of the COVID pandemic team vaccinations? I mean, I feel like there's definitely got to be some type of repercussion here, but to say it's unique to the pandemic or the comments about the pandemic, I feel like the NFL is just interested in moving past that. So I don't know that there's going to be any kind of repercussions on that, but there's plenty of other shit to talk about out of that interview with Rogan, where he's talking about being on Percocets on the field. My man's talking about ayahuasca. He's out there in another fucking dimension, and he's out there throwing ropes. So I feel like there's got to be some kind of repercussion here. This doesn't go unpunished, and we already know the relationship that Goodell already has with Rodgers. Rodgers with the NFL from the fucking get-go. He's just been this like awkwardly against the grain guy. So, Gary, let's go to you first.
Yeah, I think the NFL is just going to try to ignore this and hope it goes away. Honestly, they're just going to hope that like Joe Rogan has his platform, the NFL has their platform, and maybe the best quarterback in terms of talent that we've ever seen play the game just continues to be what he's been. Maybe he wins a third straight MVP this year, and the NFL can just say, yep, he's still Aaron Rodgers. I don't know that they're going to try to hit him with fines. I definitely don't think they're going to suspend him for things he said in the media. Behind closed doors, there may be some conversations that the NFL and the NFLPA have in terms of conduct, but what the fuck are you going to do to Aaron Rodgers? And I don't know that Aaron Rodgers would give a shit. Like, you could hit him with a fine and he would pay it, and then he would go on a fucking peyote trip and go play incredible football. So I think in the end, the NFL just tries to hope this goes away, honestly.
I'm trying to pull up the amount of views that this thing has gotten on Spotify.
Rogan has an immense following.
Oh, it's stupid.
There's no question about that. I think the NFL hopes it goes away.
Andy?
I think that the audience, the NFL, believes matters. And the audience that the NFL believes matters and this reaches is abysmal.
The overlap just isn't there.
Because I'll give you a spoiler alert. They're the same people who crashed the housing market. I think the NFL is not in touch with its fan base. I don't think they are. I don't think Goodall, I don't think his advisors, I don't think they're in touch with the 20-somethings, the 30-somethings that watch the NFL predominantly and who watch Joe Rogan. I don't think they care. I think what they care about is their investors, the people on the boards, the owners. None of those people watch Joe Rogan. And if they do, it's 5% or less. So I don't think they give a shit. Like, I think that this is buried. They're going to play this off as this is Aaron Rodgers having fun. This is playful Aaron Rodgers. And, it's this guy. I think it's like Gary said, in a sense, there's no energy there to go and pursue this.
Fair
because enough. They don't feel like it affects their brands. What's the age of the average NFL owner?
Oh, 100.
I don't know. It's got to be real fucking old.
Too common.
60 plus.
They don't watch Joe Rogan.
Fair enough.
Their friends don't watch Joe Rogan.
Yeah, but their media teams probably do. Again,
sure.
There's a lot of.
How much do they respect their media teams, though?
I mean, I think when it bails them out of image issues like what the Texans or what the Browns were dealing with Deshaun Watson,
Right.
I think that there's definitely plenty there, but they've got to wait.
Same as the guy that brings them fucking dinner.
They've got to weigh the value
out of sight, out of mind
of the comments that were made. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. I would be surprised if nothing came out of it, but something will come out of it.
I think when like
I think it'll be a slap on the
brings you
wrist.
something and you're like, oh, this matters. But then when you go to a party or a get together with a bunch of your other peers who are also the same people as you who it doesn't affect, you forget about it.
I think you're minimizing it, but we can move on.
Well, you know, I minimize things sometimes. I don't know.
That's fair. Stove with another one says, will Ron's comments lead to more NFL's players speaking out? And do you think there will be litigation brought against the NFL for its tactics to keep the 2021 season going?
We already have had them speaking out. The problem is they have to be a quarterback and they have to be a white quarterback or nobody cares.
But his question is more tailored to class action, right? Which is, you know, if you get a bunch of folks that are going to be together and standing up against the shield, it doesn't really fucking matter whether they're white, brown, black, doesn't matter. They're all going to be able to jump in and have a lawyer on retainer that they can put together. Are we going to see that?
No.
I think behind closed doors, there's a lot of conversations going on right now that the NFLPA is saying we can't have this in the public eye. And Aaron Rodgers is the exception to the rule because he's again probably eating mushrooms in the huddle.
Yeah.
But I just think the NFLPA is going to try to get in front of this as much as possible and get everybody to toe the company line because it's what pays the bills. The NFL is still the biggest business. And I do think that a lot of players want to speak out against the NFL. I don't think they will.
The biggest business. They stole Sunday from the Catholic Church.
Right.
Well, I think the Catholic Church probably stole a lot of Sundays from some...
they stole all kinds of shit.
You know what I mean? From some poor innocent little boys. Let's move on.
Oh, Jesus, you're canceled.
Yeah, that's fair. Come see me. On to the next one. So, Ty Haverneck. We'll go with that. There we go. What head coaches do you expect to be on the host seat first this season?
Ooh.
I had a typo there. Hot seat. That's
hot seat.
Fault.
I'll read the teleprompter as it's
I know.
given, you know.
I am Ron Burgundy.
I'm Ron Burgundy. Okay, so what head coaches do you expect to be on the hot seat first this season? I mean, tough. I don't know about first, but in any given order, I think that we're going to see. That's my tell the kids to turn their technology off alarm.
We have one too.
I think one of the ones that we're going to see this year is Cliff Kingsbury is going to be in the hot seat.
We got it right. Haverneck.
Phonetic. All right.
Love it. Well done, Stowe.
I think that we're going to see Cliff Kingsbury in the hot seat. I don't know in what particular order, but I think that that's going to be one of the immediate hot seats that we'll see. If Kyler decides to, you know, throw his tantrum and not perform.
Okay.
So, all right, Andy.
I got Pete Carroll, man. I think he's old, which I think is going to be the biggest reason. I think if he were 10 or 20 years younger, it wouldn't be much of a thing. But I feel like now that there's an out, I don't think it's that he's a bad coach. I think it's that there's going to be an out. There's no Russell Wilson. They're going to struggle offensively. He's going to be, how's the guy?
73 or 74. He's old.
He doesn't need to be coaching anyway. and that's something against. Right. It's all gone. He just seems like the perfect like poster child to be gone, Pete Carroll. Respect what you've done. Great. Nothing against Pete Carroll, but this is the perfect time to. If I'm Seattle, this is where I want to get him.
All right, Gary.
Bill Belichick. No, just kidding.
Jesus, I was
Totally
gonna say
kidding.
spicy
Totally
take.
kidding. Totally
Spicy take.
There's
So
no
good.
chance he's on the hot sheet. Honestly, I look across the league, and Cleveland probably, if they get out of the gate real slow, and I think honestly their schedule's really front loaded too. They could be 1-6, 1-7 after 7 or 8 weeks. Stefanski could be feeling a little bit of heat under his seat. If Jerry wasn't a guy that ever fired people mid-season, Mike McCarthy, because I think he's lost a lot of confidence in that organization. If they don't get off to a good start, I could see them looking to make a move because they've got the guy in-house that they want to hire in his place with Kellen. So those two are probably two. And then, Raul, you nailed it with Cliff Kingsbury. I do think that if Arizona gets out of the gate slow, there's some urgency there in that organization, and they could be looking to potentially move on from a guy that they just signed to an extension. But I think they're impatient there. Steve Keim has historically been a guy who loves to win and win now.
What about Sirianni?
I think he's won some faith because they've been in the playoffs, so maybe not. Philly's a bit of a wild card, though. That's a rough city. So maybe.
Stove asking another good question. But is it the coach or Kyler gone there in Arizona? And that's
players over coaches. Always players over coaches.
Stove, yeah. Why don't you fucking make an appearance?
Yeah, come on, champ. Always players over coaches, though. Yeah, they'll keep Kyler before they keep Cliff.
And they should in this situation. I mean, I'm keeping Kyler over Cliff. I don't always think that the solution is to keep the player over the coach. However, there are justified scenarios.
All right. So do we have another question in the bag?
We've got 2 more, bud.
We got 2 more. On to the next one. So Ty is asking, speaking of the playoffs, do the Lions have a path to the playoffs in the weaker NFC? I mean,
no.
They're not going to win the division.
No. There's 2 better teams than them in the division. No.
Right, but
no.
There's 3 wild card spots.
No. They are a 5. I don't like this. I don't like this narrative. A lot of people are spinning this shit. I don't love it. They are a 5-7 win team. They are, and that's fine. Like, that's cool. They won 3 games last year. They're a 5-7 win team. People are pushing it because it's like a hot button take. Like, oh, maybe the Lions win 8 or 10 games. They aren't. They're. Remember when Game was talking about Eminem? He's not. No, they're not. They aren't. No. I'm sorry, Ty. If you're a Lions fan, I feel you, man.
He's not.
I think what Andy's trying to say is no. Gary, do the Lions have a path to the playoffs in a weaker NFC?
There's a path. It's not a great path.
Oh my
There's
goodness.
a path. I'm gonna lay it out there, and maybe they're a 5-win team. Maybe they're a 9-10. We've said 9 or 10 gets you in the NFC. Probably 9 gets you a wild card in the NFC. I'm going to lay this out for you. And looking at their schedule, they play the NFC East out of division. Okay, the bad NFC East out of division. They play the Seahawks out of division. They play the Jaguars out of division, and they play the AFC East where they can play the Jets. Right. That's another possible potential win. And the Panthers is their off opponent out of division as well. If Christian McCaffrey's down by that point, it's late in the season. If they're out of it, there's a path. And that path is take 2 from the Bears, win those shit out of division games, take 2 from the NFC East, beat the Jets. You're looking at 7, possibly 9, possibly 10 wins if you can steal one from the Vikings and maybe steal one from the Packers. There's a path. It's not a great path. I will admit that. Andy, I understand what you're saying.
There's a path for anything. No. Everyone has
No,
a
there's
path.
not. There's no path for the Jets. There's no
Sure
path
there
for the
is.
Jag. No, there fucking isn't, bud.
There's a path for anyone.
No, there fucking isn't.
Come on. When we're
Let's
going to
be
do
realistic.
like Harry Potter sorcery,
Oh,
there's a
my
path
God.
for everyone.
We're not playing Magic.
We're making this is make believe, Gary.
No.
Don't have any kneecaps left. They won't. I don't see it, man. I know
There's a path. I'm gonna stand by that.
Yeah.
It's not a great path. It's not paved in
I
gold.
still feel like the
There's a
fact
path.
that you're trying to say that path includes beating the Packers and the Vikings is insane to me.
No.
I was with you with the Jets.
They got to steal one.
Steal a game against the Vikings or steal a game against the Packers, and you're looking at possibly 9 wins, right?
Well, what if the Jets steal one against the Dolphins and they steal one against the Patriots?
No.
Jets. Jets.
Jets. Let's go.
Where we at, Stove? Where we at, Stove?
All right. Last question. Brett Freeze asks, is Tyron Smith injury going to derail Dallas this season again? I think it's a very high possibility. I think that's the biggest threat to the Dallas season is the loss of Tyron Smith and that absolute fucking pillar that he serves. There's Stove. Appreciate you. But with that being said, is it going to derail it? No, I don't think so.
Stove agrees with you.
Stove agrees, says
And agrees
no.
with Andy.
Andy says no. Gary?
I'm already on record saying it does. Honestly. I mean, Stove, sure, McCarthy, but we've already seen it. Tyron Smith is probably the most valuable player that nobody wants to talk about in the NFL because every time that Tyron Smith misses time, Dallas is precipitously worse as a football team. He is, as you put it, the pillar.
Don't do that again.
Sure. They're demonstrably worse.
Don't do that again.
You're fucking Stephen A. Smith out here with your bullshit, dude.
Blasphemous. Egregious.
Yeah.
The New York Football Giants.
But I do believe that Tyron Smith's injury is the difference for Dallas. He makes a difference in the run game, and he makes a huge difference in the pass game for that offense.
I mean, well, there you go. We got a house divided here. I did notice that me and Andy seemed to be kind of lined up on things, and Gary was kind of
I've been on the island like all night.
Yeah, been on the island all night. So
it is what it is, I guess.
I don't assume you're going to
be wrong, Gary.
That's fair.
Do we have anything else that we need to cover? Closing thoughts? Anything else?
Not a whole lot. It's been a good episode. Hey, listen, we appreciate the mailbag topics too, and having 5 topics to cover in the mailbag. We really appreciate it. Keep sending them thoughts in. Keep giving us ideas here for the mailbag. Really like the segment, getting some interaction with people that follow the page.
Yeah, I think definitely rolling into the season, we'll get like some fantasy questions. Would be great. Holding penalties. So yeah, the fantasy shit for mailbag will be awesome. I mean, everybody plays fantasy football.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We'll roll that right out.
Andy, any other closing thoughts? Are we good to go?
Nah, man, I'm good. Good to see you boys. I missed last week.
Good to have you back, bud.
It's been great. Hour and 41 minutes strong.
Out here with the gang. Well, listen, from all of us at Backyard Sports, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to check in on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, any of our social media. DM us, give us your questions. get in the bag so that we can read your comments out and answer your questions live on air. We'll be sure to shout you out. Maybe you need to provide a phonetic pronunciation of your spelling. My bad. With that being said, Gary Freeze, Andy Flint, Raul Herrera, Backyard Sports. This is Backyard Blitz, brought to you by Backyard Sports. We're fucking out of here.
Where is that?
You're nailing